but because I was trying to ask the question, many people would have been thinking,
Yes.
is this really a dignified job? Because I mean, I'm still not fully convinced by that, but I think this research has helped me to move in that direction, that it can be a dignified job.
You see, the key thing is that the current setup of recycling in most African countries doesn't include the organization that we're seeing in Masaka, which is these people are actually part of an association. These people are trained. They're given uniforms, there's overalls, protective wear, and so on, which differentiates it from some poor 13-year-old kid who should be in school, but is picking waste from dumps in maybe Nairobi or Bulawayo. So that for me was one of the key differentiators there. And what that association does is that it enables like the vulnerable to be protected. So you can't have school-going kids involved in this waste, picking waste on the streets when they're supposed to be in school. And in fact, in the presentation, it's there in the presentation. These guys actually have a scholarship program for kids, where they're paying for their their school fees and so on in 30 participating schools. So that
and are they actually making enough money? I mean, you're talking now about dignity of organizing and all of that, but compared to, say, they were going to go get a teacher's job or a job in the maybe as a not a diplomat, as in civil service or something, are you able to make money in this waste picking?
Well, 25 cents per kg. Average delivery is 100 kgs a week if you're really lazy. So I'm told that would be of the low grade plastic bottles, right? If you're bringing in hard plastics, 100 kg is $50, right? So $50 in most African economies is a lot of money, per week. Until last year, Zimbabwean teachers were earning $100 a month. Rwandan teachers earn $50 a month. So in terms of incomes, these incomes are real, but this job has been much maligned because of the lack of the organization and the fact that there's a lot of abuse and a lot of mafias, mafia style working in the recycling. So what Uganda has done, what EcoBricks has done in bringing the order there through an organization, has eliminated all of that. And now you have a decent recycling job. So that for me, even I would have taken on my overalls and started recycling in EcoBricks. That's what makes it decent. And if we could do that across Africa, that could change the face of recycling and make it more positive than it is right now. Because at the moment there's too much exploitation, child labor, and these mafias don't even pay these people. Some of them bring in their stuff and we've been told that, we're still waiting. We brought our stuff a month ago. We still haven't been paid for our stuff. And so that's what we want to, eliminate by promoting the EcoBricks model. If we had an EcoBricks model in every country, we will change recycling in Africa in the next 10 years. And I didn't want to talk too much about the financial aspects because it is quite lucrative. There were guys that we interviewed who own trucks. They bought trucks from the proceeds of the thing. There's these ladies that we interviewed them at their homes. They've actually built houses from the proceeds of the recycling. But that's in Uganda, where everything has been done properly, using, you know, proper Christian values here. No exploitation, a fair wage, you train the people, you know, you pay them on time. Another thing that Andy does at EcoBricks is, you know, the fluctuation in the prices, like the prices fall every December and then recover around April. So they give notification to people at least a month in advance to make them aware that the price. So when you're working out there, you know the price of the product, you know, that you're going to be bringing in. You won't be surprised when you turn up with your 100 kilos and you're told, oh no, it's only worth 10 cents now. So the fairness aspect, I think, is one of the key things that we picked up from EcoBricks. And if we could replicate all those values, if we could bring them in and set up a couple of pilots, you know, maybe, you know, Uganda is in East Africa. Why don't we set up a Southern Africa pilot, a Central Africa, West Africa, and you start influencing the sector that way. A big advantage with Andy's system is that he's then able to bring the product to the market because they export a lot of their product, and so it's a full-blown commercial operation. You know, when it then comes to the marketing of the products and so on. So rather than an individual trying to bring in 100 kgs of his stuff, or 2 ton, or even 30 ton, because that's too little, these guys bring in 100 ton into the market at a time. And that's very important in terms of prices, in terms of ensuring that you're going to get paid, etc. So those are some of the dimensions that you guys should be aware of in terms of recycling that makes this model. That's why we zeroed in on it. They're not the only recyclers, but they have the best model we've come across in Africa.
And you brought out the interesting thing, the difference between the mafias and this thing, because yes, there's a lot of extractive. So these guys, the mafias, are creating extractive businesses and they're getting very rich, but the pickers are still living in undignified. And that's why most of us, when we look at a picker, we'll say, I wouldn't want my child to be a picker because they're being exploited every day. They're in the mud. Whereas what you're talking about is a you know, trade union. They organize, it's dignified, they're getting enough money that they're actually living a lower middle class lifestyle as defined in Uganda. I mean, it wouldn't work in South Africa or London, but in Uganda that works.
In Uganda it would work, yeah.